The intelligent want self-control, children want candy. That's a pretty powerful thought from the poet Rumi. And it really perfectly sets the stage for what we're talking about today. I mean, think about it. How often do we find ourselves totally drawn to the immediate, sweet reward of instant gratification, rather than holding out for the long-term benefit of self-control? It is a universally human desire to want to be in charge of our choices, right? To be the intelligent one in Rumi's quote. Yet so often we find ourselves just reaching for the metaphorical candy. So if you're hearing that question and feeling a sudden pang of guilt, let me just stop you right there. You are absolutely not alone. Almost everyone feels like a willpower failure at some point. You know the drill. You're totally in control one moment and then completely overwhelmed by temptation the very next. Whether it's a busted New Year's resolution or playing that dangerous daily game of hitting the snooze button just one more time, the frustration is incredibly real. In fact, according to the American Psychological Association, Americans actually name a lack of willpower as the literal #1 reason they struggle to meet their goals. We just beat ourselves up, feeling like our lives are dictated by impulses rather than our conscious choices.
But what if I told you that you've kind of been looking at willpower all wrong? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're adopting the mindset of a genuinely fascinating class that was originally offered through Stanford University called The Science of Willpower. Our goal here is simple but honestly profound. We are going to completely destigmatize our daily struggles. We're tossing out those worn-out strategies that actually backfire and lead to self-sabotage, and instead, we're going to look at what the latest science actually says about how to find our focus and manage our temptations.
Okay, let's dive into our source material for today. The insights we're unpacking come directly from health psychologist and educator Dr. Kelly McGonigal in her amazing book, The Willpower Instinct. And her approach is just so refreshing because it treats self-control not as a test of your moral character, but as a measurable biological science. It's all about understanding your body and your brain. We aren't here to judge our personal inadequacies. We are here to understand the actual mechanics of how self-control works, why it matters so much, and exactly what you can do to get more of it.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the universal struggle, talk about why optimists actually fail, dive into the brain's two minds, learn how to become a willpower scientist, and finally figure out your unique willpower challenge.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the universal willpower struggle. Because seriously, you are not alone in this. Struggling with temptation isn't a sign that you're somehow broken. It's a perfectly normal human condition. When this course was taught at Stanford to executives, athletes, parents, you name it, a survey taken just 4 weeks in found that a staggering 84% of students reported the strategies were already working. By just understanding the science, people were overcoming 30-year sugar addictions, finally sticking to exercise programs, and actually filing back taxes. It completely proves that when you understand how willpower functions biologically, these strategies absolutely work. Moving right along to Section 2, why optimists fail. Yes, there is a very real danger in overconfidence when it comes to self-control. So we often think that sheer optimism guarantees success, right? I'm definitely going to stick to my diet this time. But actually, over-optimistic people are the most likely to relapse because they completely fail to predict the traps. They hang out with friends who smoke, or they leave a box of cookies sitting right on the kitchen counter, and then boom, when temptation hits, they're totally surprised and they just give up. On the flip side, the self-aware person succeeds because they predict exactly how they fail. By expecting the difficulties, you can avoid the traps that lead to trouble in the first place. Radical self-knowledge is your true foundation here. So what is actually going on inside our heads? Let's hit Section 3, the brain's two minds, and choosing the harder thing. Biologically speaking, you aren't just one mind. Your brain is basically a battlefield. You've got a mind that acts on raw impulse and just wants immediate gratification, and then you have a modern brain that tries to control those impulses. Your prefrontal cortex is your biological defense mechanism. Its entire job, literally its main purpose, is to bias you toward doing the harder thing. When impulse tells you to just stay on the couch, your prefrontal cortex fights to remind you of your fitness goals and get those running shoes on. When it's way easier to say yes to dessert, it reminds you why you plan to order tea instead. It is the literal biological engine of your willpower. Which brings us to Section 4, the willpower scientist. It is time to treat your life like a laboratory. To train this biological tool, the author challenges us to completely shed our guilt and adopt this clinical two-step framework. You gotta stop beating yourself up for every single weakness. Step 1, put yourself under the microscope. Just observe when and why you give in to temptation, but do it completely without judgment. How does being hungry influence your spending? What do you secretly say to yourself right before you procrastinate? Just observe it. Then, Step 2, Run willpower experiments. Take a strategy and test it in the real world. Try different things out, collect data on what actually helps you, and refine your approach. If an experiment flops, hey, you didn't fail. You just collected some really valuable data on your own behavior. And that leads us perfectly into our final section, your willpower challenge. It is time to choose your battle. To get the most out of this whole framework, you really need to apply it to a specific real-life goal. And it's pretty fascinating. When you look at all the different facets of self-control, it really highlights the sheer variety of struggles we all face on a daily basis. From our bodies fiercely resisting cheesecake to the complex economics of instant gratification. But here's the secret. Whether your kryptonite is chocolate, playing video games for hours, endless online shopping, or just avoiding your past due bills, the underlying biological mechanics of temptation are exactly the same. To make this super actionable and help you choose your battle, the author breaks our goals down into 3 really distinct categories. First, you have the I Will Power Challenge. This is something you've been putting off. What do you need to stop avoiding because you know it's going to improve your life? Second is the I Won't Power Challenge. This is about breaking a sticky habit. What do you need to give up because it's actively undermining your health or your happiness? And third is the I Want Power Challenge. This is the big one. It's about a long-term goal. What is an important overarching objective you want to focus your energy on, and what immediate distraction is most likely to derail you? So as we wrap up this explainer, here is what I want you to ask yourself right now. Which of the 3 willpower challenges are you going to choose for your experiment today? Is it going to be an I will, an I won't, or an I want challenge? Remember, you are absolutely not a willpower failure. You are a willpower scientist now. Pick your goal, drop all that guilt, start observing your habits, and step out of here completely ready to run your very first experiment. The science of self-control is entirely in your hands.